That's good to go. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the announcements first, and then we got a lot of stuff planned today. Excuse me. Okay. All right. And then can you all see my screen clearly?
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. So really quickly. So project 2, if you're planning to submit it late, you have until Friday to submit it. All right. If you submit it tomorrow or earlier, there's a 5% penalty. If you submit it on Friday, there's a 10% penalty. All right. So if you need some extra time to do the project and you haven't submitted it yet, you still have up until Friday to do it. If you get a 70% or higher on your grade, you are able to resubmit it for a better score as well. All right, so just keep that in mind. We will take a look at all the projects that have been submitted today, though, so that'll be really cool to see. If you're going to submit it late, please throw it into the late resubmissions folder. So if I just kind of go in here and I just kind of show you all really quick. So under project submissions, project 2 late submissions, just throw it in here, all right? And then that way, what is it? That way I'll know that it's late. Please don't throw it in the normal one, okay? I can still see if it's late or not in there, but if I see the mix-up, then I'm not even going to grade your picture. So please put it inside of the late submissions folder. So other than that, let's see. So I got to go over project 3 today. So this week for project 3, I want you to post your mood boards on Blogger by next Monday. So just like what we did for project 1 and just like what we did for project 2, I want y'all to have your references and all that stuff found by Monday, and then just throw it onto Blogger. Other than that, we'll go over project. We'll take a look at project. Sorry, we'll go over project 2 Galleria today. So we'll take a look at all the project 2 stuff. We will go over project 3, so that'll be cool. And then we will go over the pen tool. So that's going to be really fun. And it's going to be a really great way to just kind of make graphics, icons, that kind of stuff. So that's going to be awesome. Other than that, so I've updated the deadlines over here. So just make sure to throw your 3 mood boards on Blogger. And then I'll go over which 3 mood boards again just in a moment. And then project 3. So yeah, y'all are going to do a poker card design. So that's going to be really fun. Today's exercises will be due on week 11 also. All right, so week 11 is the week after spring break, y'all. So we actually have week 10 off. This week is week 7. So y'all have a bit of time to work on this project. So when we do come back from the spring break, we're gonna finish off with like some like 2 last assignments, along with some exercises as well. But just keep in mind, these are going to be, this one's going to be a little bit more extensive. All right. So other than that, any questions before we take a look at project 2 stuff? Okay. Uh-huh. What's up?
I was saying I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went through everyone's folder and I just threw project 2 into this Galleria folder. If yours is not on there, let me know, and then we can go ahead and throw it on there after. Yeah, but let's take a look and see what everyone made. Nice. That's weird. It's like glitching. Okay. Nice.
Cool.
Cool. Some Square Enix merchandise. Ooh.
Very nice.
Good work. Yeah. The plastic and everything is done perfectly. Ooh. Good shapes.
Very cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, I like this.
There's a very kind of a graphic feel to it.
Yeah, it almost feel like it's like vectored or something.
Right.
Super cool. Nice.
I don't know why this one reminds me of the 90s for some reason. I mean that in a good way.
It reminds me of like I can see that. It reminds me of Lakers too a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Lakers for sure, definitely.
Even though it's a lemon, but the yellow and purple definitely with the basketball shoes,
Right.
Jordan
Right.
icon. Nice. Good
Was that
work.
a Ghostbusters trap?
What's up?
Was that a Ghostbusters trap?
Oh,
Looks like a computer.
I was joking. I
Oh.
was thinking if anybody like thought like it looked like one.
Oh, gotcha.
In a good way.
Good work. Nice. Like the wood over here. Brushwork is done really well.
thank you.
Yeah, good work. It's nice. Ooh.
Sure.
Nice temperatures too. The orange and the blues. Well, good work, y'all. This is really cool. So I hope y'all learned a bit about digital painting in Photoshop. It is just one of the skills and techniques that is needed in a bunch of different kinds of digital art that exist. Even if you're doing graphic design, I can guarantee that knowing a little bit of digital painting is going to help a lot too. And vice versa, knowing graphic design is also going to help a bit with digital painting. You know, because when we're thinking about like digital art, there's so many different kinds of art. And what we can make in Photoshop is like limitless. You know, just the other day, one of my students, we did like a project where we had to make like our own like currency. You know, and it's all possible to construct and make look realistic. We can throw on paper texture, make graphics, things like that. And then over here, you know, we got like a painting here that's almost like it's as if it was like a traditional like, you know, oil painting, right? But we've done it digitally. This is a possibility too. You know, so there are so many things we can make in Photoshop, not to mention in the beginning with all the collage stuff, right? Just learning how to photo edit, learning how to change things. That's another thing too. What can we use that for, right? So Photoshop has many, many, many uses. You can make just about anything that we've seen in real life, art-wise, we can make in Photoshop. It might be harder to replicate some of the more organic and like real, like, you know, just to get like the realism on 100% scale, but in like a 90 to 99% like, you know, a scale of, you know, from like 90 to 99%, I would say like we can get it something to look very similar to what we see in real life in Photoshop. So that includes like paintings. I mean, graphics are all done digitally, right? But we can even make, I mean, if we can photo edit stuff, we can even make like worlds, right? That's how like matte painting comes out from like entertainment. So I hope you all enjoyed this project. And again, if you get a C minus or higher, you are able to resubmit for a better grade. So if I did not get to go over your project and you submitted it like just now, let me know. If you do plan to submit it late, don't forget you have until Friday to do so. All right. So before we continue, let's go over project 3. So project 3 is going to be due, as we know, on week 11, 4-5-21. So right after spring break is over. All right. So the guidelines, okay. So you are going to be making a poker card front and back in Photoshop. All right, sorry. So you must have a front and back design for a poker card. Okay, the front design must have some kind of character that represents the card, along with other symbols and elements to support the design. Your back design must implement a pattern or the use of symbolism. Okay, the front and the back also must be unified as a theme in some way. All right, so if you're doing some like space designed poker card, the back design should also match that front design in a way. So they should both kind of have like a sci-fi feel. All right, you must have a colored scheme designed into the piece in some way as well. All right, so make sure you have a good color scheme. And all designs must be original. No designs based off of existing IPs. All right, so no Disney designs. We can't take anything that exists. If you like, I mean, if you want to do something anime, it just has to be like your own anime character. It can't be like, you can take the idea of King, Queen, and Jack and make them anime, but we can't take like Goku, or we can't take like other like characters that exist and like implement into this. So I want original designs, but you can be inspired by certain things, and make it in that style if you'd like. All right. So, if you want to do something Star Warsy, but it's not, but you can't do Star Wars, you can still make your own type of like, sci-fi robot knight, or you can still make your own. I mean, no one's like copywriting sci-fi, right? So you can do sci-fi all the way, but you just can't choose an IP that already exists. No photographs allowed either for the final product. All right. No photographs. Everything has to be made rather by drawing or with the pen tool. Okay. And we'll go over the pen tool today. It must be a face card. So it must be a king, queen, or jack card. Okay. I don't care what suite you want to use. If you want to do hearts, diamonds, spades, clover, that's up to you. All right. So feel free to use whichever one of those you like. And again, you must use the pen, marquee, and type tool within the image at least once. But you're probably going to use it a lot more than once. Anybody have any questions so far on the main guidelines?
I do actually. So it's made chief. So basically, from what I understand, no, and I don't understand cards, but I'm gonna try to be brief. So basically, what I understand is that we can't use anything that's existing. So what I'm understanding is, so we're basically building OC in a way. If we have our own character, we could put our OC in the cards.
Yeah, you can put your own original character in there. So if you want to do like for example, a Jack card, and you have a certain character you think would fit that role, then you can do that. Or you can design a character into that role too. Like king and queen is not necessarily has to always be a king or a queen. It just like, when we think about the suite order and like, what's a higher card or lower card or whatever, you can replace those elements with like, whatever you think would fit in there. So, if you want to make like a really, really, I mean, you can also like play around with the idea a bit too, So like if you want to make like a super powerful queen, and make that really awesome, or make a super powerful looking Jack, you could do that. Maybe like it goes from like, the higher the card number, like, well, you're only doing one suite, so it's up to you how you want to design like the card. But yeah, as long as you're not using an existing IP, so you can't use Master Chief, but you can use like a sci-fi character that you've made. But it can't look like Master Chief. If it looks like Master Chief, that's plagiarism.
So basically, I would have to recreate my character. I don't know, but the thing is that it doesn't have its tags or has the similarities.
Yeah, it can't be if it looks if someone says that looks like Master Chief, that's too derivative. It has to be it can be an original character, but it can't, it's how it goes in the plagiarism world. Like we can't have anything that looks like Mickey Mouse. We can't have anything that looks like Pikachu. That would be a trademark violation and also a copyright violation.
But what if we have the rights to them though?
No, not for this assignment. Yeah, you got to make something up.
What about that? Like, I'm sorry to ask all these questions because I want to make sure to establish all this stuff, and I'll probably be asking questions again at the end.
Oh, that's fine. You can ask as many as you'd like.
But my other question was like, remember that picture that I drew, or that my friend helped me design the character? Would that be allowed or not?
No, and no likeness of any character. It has to be original. It has to be something that no one has ever seen before. You can take the idea of certain things that aren't copyrighted. Like the idea of a sci-fi soldier is not copyrighted. So you can make your own sci-fi soldier, but it just cannot look like Master Chief. It cannot look like Samus. It cannot look like a stormtrooper. It can't look like anything that we can already Google and find that belongs to a company. So you can make your own new sci-fi soldier, but you just can't, make it look like anything that's too similar to like, too similar to like, something that we've seen like already that, in like Disney or in like in another company. So, I would say if you're gonna make your own character and you want to make it really, really creative and like, super original, then I would find references for that. How can I combine the look of a sci-fi soldier with the look of a, I don't know, like a samurai, or the look of a boxer, and make a new character out of that. But does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, so far. I'll probably need your help with it on Tuesday or so, hopefully.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe by the end of the class. But either way.
Sure. Yeah, we can go over it on the break. I don't know if we'll have time in class today to go over that kind of stuff, because I have a lot of tools to kind of teach y'all. But on your appointment, we can definitely go over it.
I understand.
But yeah, just know, you just can't, just make sure it's original art, y'all. Like if some other company has already made it before and published it online, or published it that exists, if it already exists, then don't use it. But you can't copyright like a knight. You can't copyright a samurai. You can't copyright, things like that, So, so like, just kind of like, just think about that, right?
Right, I understand.
Okay, so other than that, any other questions before I go over some other requirements?
Do our characters have to be human, or could they be like animals?
They can be, it's whatever you want to represent it as. Jack, King, and Queen, they can be whatever you want, as long as they kind of like fit onto the card. And I mean, like, what do they even mean, right? Jack, King, and Queen. They're just there to help us identify like the sweet deck stuff. But yeah, it could be anything you want. Like if you wanted to have like a bird as queen, that's fine. If you want like a dog as queen, if you wanted like I don't know, if you wanted like some sort of like. Sorry, y'all. Give me a quick moment. This number keeps calling me over and over again. Just give me like 5 seconds. Hello? So I'm gonna block this number.
Damn spam callers.
They're calling about your car's extended warranty.
Oh man, this one was one of those ones where like it just goes beep, like, and then beep, like it just has that beep sound after. But I have so many of those car extended warranty ones.
Or one of those ones that say like, you have won a free trip to Hawaii. I've done plenty of those, and I'm like, oh cool, where's my ticket?
Man, when will they know to, when to quit? All right, so yeah, it can be any character you want. I don't mind. As long as it looks like a legit poker card, that's all that really matters to me. So, cool. Awesome. Any other questions? No? Okay, so I will require 3 mood boards. So design, mood, and final style as the categories, just like what we did for Project 1. And Project 2 kind of, but Project 2 we only showed the references we're going to paint. So, go back to Project 1 and reference this. So remember, for design, you're looking for things that you want to implement into your design. Mood is your color scheme. So what color scheme and what look, are you trying to go for in terms of colors? And then final style. So how do you want your artwork to look as a final style? I want y'all to do 6 different idea sketches or iterations for your card design, front and back. All right, you can do those digitally, you can do those traditionally. I don't mind, but I want 6 designs. They don't have to be super detailed. You're only going to refine one idea to be really detailed, all right? And that's the idea you'll take into Photoshop and make as a poker card, all right? When you make your final file, okay, make sure you have at least 5 layers unmerged and existing paths in Photoshop. So we'll talk about paths later, y'all, but just make sure you don't merge everything into one like layer, because that's a big sign of cheating usually. It's because when everything's merged into one layer, it means that it usually tells me that someone's trying to hide something. So please have your stuff unmerged, because if you really did the artwork, then I should be able to see the whole process in layers. Other than that, you're gonna save a PSD and a JPEG. All right. The project rubric is on Canvas as usual. Just follow that. So, same as usual. This is how I'll grade it by. The only project that won't be graded like this will have to be the project we just turned in now. Where, well, it's going to be still somewhat graded like this, but it's definitely going to be more of a craftsmanship project than, any of these other ones over here. Well, composition and concept, I guess. Composition is going to play a huge role, and I guess like how cool your idea will play that too. But this one will be very much a design project versus like an observational painting. So that's just what I'm trying to say. So other than that, your dimensions for each card. So each card is 3.5 by 2.5 inches. Okay, so you're making 2 of these. All right, so you need 2 of these cards separately in different files. Okay, so I need a JPEG and a PSD of each of these. And I also want 1 JPEG with both of them on the same page. All right. Other than that, 300 DPI for the resolution. And yeah, and that's about it for the requirements. Any questions for the required files?
Isn't the size a little small?
Well, that's the size of a card when you print it.
Yeah, I meant like when you like painting on the Photoshop, it's that small.
Well, it's small, but the good thing about the pen tool is it's a vectorized object. So the nice thing about vectorized objects, and we're going to learn this today when we do the pen tool, is that you can make it any size you want, and it's never ever going to change the resolution. So if you wanted to make a bigger card, you can. So even though this is a pretty small file size, well, first of all, it's this file size because this is the usual industry standard file size that your card is going to be in. The second thing is that because we are going to be using vectors, it doesn't matter how big or small our file size is. We're going to be able to rescale it to any size we want without messing with the resolution. So yeah, that's kind of like why it's small. But the main reason why is because if we got to print out cards, you got to make sure they're on that size. So hopefully, like, I mean, if you want to make them bigger first, you can. You can make it at like a 7 by 5 inches, and then like just turn in the final file size a bit smaller. But just make sure that they're on 300 DPI. All right, 300 DPI when you submit them. Okay, if they're not at 300 DPI, I'm gonna mark down a lot of points. Okay, so please 300 DPI. So any other questions before we move forward? No? All right. So these are
a question about the style of it. You might just be about to answer it, but would you like it set up like a traditional playing card, in that like the top half of the card is a mirror of the bottom half of the card, or do you want it to be more freeform?
I would say I'm not gonna be too picky about it, but I'm not going to be super picky about it. How about this, y'all? I'm going to leave it freeform, but I would definitely recommend having some sort of theme similar to like a traditional playing card. So that way it can kind of have a, if you really, really have to, and you want to come up with a different design, kind of like this, just make sure that it's really, really cool. But I do, you know what? Actually, yeah, let's make it a traditional playing card. I do want it as a traditional playing card, but there is a little bit of room for some freeform stuff, like kind of like this.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah, so and kind of like this too. So it still has kind of that mirroring effect, but it does kind of play along like different things, and it does kind of like, it is like a little bit like, it does have a little more variation. But if you do want to do something traditional like this, I'm okay with that too. So yeah, here's just more samples. And you only got to do one card. So if you want to just do, the king, and then the back is going to be the same for all of them, right? So if you want to do the queen, if you want to do the jack, Daft Punk one. This person does some like really cool, musicians. He's not a musician, but that's cool too. Amy Winehouse, Freddie Mercury, Elvis Presley. I don't know who that is. So yeah, a lot of variation of designs. And again, I will allow some digital painting work, but I would like you guys to keep it graphic if you can. Yeah, mostly graphic. And here's some backs. This one's really cool. I really like this one. Like this like Aztec one. Anybody have any questions? No?
So so the question that I was being asked, so we have to choose one out of all cards. So if we choose to just do a queen, we just work on a queen card and all that stuff.
Yeah, just only work on a queen, and then you got to work on the backside too.
Okay.
You know,
We just need to choose a category.
you know what, y'all? I'm actually going to change the dimensions for this. I do want y'all to still submit a file. You know, I do want y'all to still submit a file that is this size, but I'm going to require another file that's 2 times the size. Just because, like, I kind of thought about what Gabrielle was saying. And, like, even though, like, what I said is true too, I just want a bigger file size just in case any of y'all plan to do, like, pixelated line work. Yeah, but if you do have mostly everything as paths, this shouldn't be a problem. So any questions? So I'm gonna update this, and so it's gonna have a different file size requirement. All right, and I'll put the original file size requirement here too. But just be sure to check up on this. Like I'll have it updated like tomorrow. So just be sure to re-download this, and I'll go over it again like right before like we turn it in. But yeah, I just want to let y'all know. Any questions before we move on to the next part of class, though? No? Okay. So yeah, just be sure to like, I'll send over an email too, okay? I'll send over an email. So I'll send it separately from the announcements so that, oh, you know what? I'll just send it with the announcements. Yeah. And then I'll just have a little note in there saying that some stuff has been updated, etc., etc. And I'll like highlight some of that stuff too. So let's go ahead and get started on the next part of class. So let's go ahead and open up Photoshop. And then while it's opening up, all I want y'all to do is just kind of watch first, okay? So there's a couple of shortcut keys I want y'all to remember today, okay? The first one is P. Next one is A, okay? And this is going to be pen selection tools. Okay? So don't forget these two, all right? So if you press P, you should see your pen tool, all right? And the pen tool is a very interesting tool. So here's what the pen tool does, y'all, okay? The pen tool, all it does is if you click from one point to another, it'll create a line from point A to point B, and then point C, and then point D, and then point E. And you can have curved lines, you can have cornered lines. You have a lot of different kinds of lines, all right? But that's basically what it does. And when you close a path, so anytime you click, it'll create a line, and that line is what we call a path, all right? So on our pen tool, you can see where it says path. So anytime you close a path, it becomes a shape. All right, so that's really important to know as well. All right, so a path and a shape. All right, now whenever you make paths or shapes, they're going to appear in your path or shape window over here. So if you don't see that, you can go to Windows, and then you can go to Paths, and that should open up. Any questions so far? No? All right. So what does a path do? All right, or what does a shape do? Okay, so a path and a shape can do some different things. All right, so a path can, first of all, you can use a path over here to create a stroke. Okay, so if I go away, you can see strokes, right? You can see strokes. So you can draw with it. All right, when you make a shape, okay, you can create line art, kind of like this. Okay, so whenever you make like a path, okay, you can make a shape, all right? And with the shape, you can actually fill in some color, all right? And so up here, we'll have fill and stroke, all right? So earlier, we made a stroke that was black. If I wanted to change the color of my stroke, I could change it over here to like pink. And if I wanted to fill up my shape, I can go over here and I can add a fill to it. So if I wanted like this purple, It'll make it purple. All right. So as y'all can kind of see, this is kind of what a path and a shape does. All right. So what's also good to know, so let's go to our selection tool here. Now we have two kinds of selections. We have a black arrow and a white arrow. Okay, a black arrow will select the whole thing, kind of like this. All right, and it'll allow us to kind of move it around. Okay, the white arrow will allow us to select these individual points so that we can edit them. And when we edit them, it'll also edit the whole shape and fill in the color. Anybody have any questions so far?
This is similar to Adobe Illustrator.
Very, very similar.
What's the difference, though?
What's the difference? That's a good question. So the answer is there is almost no difference. This is a vector. Just like in Adobe Illustrator, vector, so there are two kinds of artwork. There are two kinds of ways shapes can be made, okay? This one is a vector, and if I paint on a layer, it is a pixel. So these are pixels and these are vectors. So what's the difference between pixels and vectors, right? So vectors are shapes and lines that have been created from a mathematical formula. All right, so what that means is that just like how what is it? Like we have formulas in math, right? Like x plus y equals z or whatever, right? It'll create a graph, right? Whenever we plug in those formulas, they'll create graphs, they'll create certain things. That's what vectors are. So it's using a constant formula and a constant code to maintain the shape that it looks like and to maintain the pixel quality. So even if we zoom in, it doesn't blur that much. Now, it's only blurring up because Photoshop is a pixel program. And it's based off of how much resolution and what size our file is right now. So basically it's only pixelating because of that. But the cool thing about vector is that even if I make this bigger, it won't blow up in pixelation. Okay, so for example, I have this blob over here, right? So let me go to my brush. Let me grab this brush. Okay. Now, when I zoom in, it starts to pixelate, and we can start seeing these little blocks. Each one of these blocks is a pixel, okay? So that's what pixel art is. When something is made out of pixels, it means that they're just filling in the squares, okay? There's no information being retained, other than the fact that this square is supposed to be like this color, right? So if I make these two things bigger, and if I make this picture bigger, what's going to happen is that this will pixelate, but this won't. Okay, so for example, let's make this bigger. Because this is a vector, no matter how big I make it, it will never, ever, ever pixelate. Y'all see that, right? But because this is a pixel, when I make this bigger, it's going to start to pixelate. And y'all can see it from the edges, right? This got blurry, but this does not blur up no matter how big I make it. So there's actually really no difference between this pen tool and the one in Illustrator, except the one in Illustrator is way better. I'll say that, because that program is made for the pen tool. But why is the pen tool very handy in Photoshop? Why do we have this in Photoshop too, right? So the first thing is vectors will always retain the pixel quality, right? So this is a really useful thing because what we can do is we can actually make very precise selections. So I'm actually just going to grab this really quick as a sample. And something you can do with these paths are you can actually make selections. So let's just say I wanted to only select, and I'll show you how to use this in a bit. So don't worry if you're like, oh no, You know, how come he's just doing all this and not showing us anything? I'll show you all in a bit. But if I have this selected, I mean, I could use this shape to draw, paint, or whatever. But the nice thing about creating a path is, other than filling it in with a color or adding a stroke, if I'm on my pen tool and I right click, I can actually make a selection from my path. And then I can get a very precise selection. Y'all see that, right? So if I'm trying to photo edit stuff, and if I'm trying to edit things out of, you know, and be very precise about how I want my selections to be, I can do that with the pen tool. So why is it useful on Photoshop? It's the same as it is on, it's the same tool as it is on Adobe Illustrator, but on Photoshop, the difference is we can actually use it to do some Photoshopping itself. So making selections and things like that too. Oh man, sorry, too much talking. Anybody have any questions? And does that kind of make sense, everyone, so far? Like why this is like useful on Photoshop? So it's not just like a tool for making flat graphics. It's also really great for selections too. We can also use these to make custom shapes. All right, so for example, let's just say I want to make this into a custom shape, right? So I'm just going to use this really, really quickly as a quick sample again. And then I will show y'all how to do this like for reals later. But let's just say I want to make stickers or icons out of my selection, right? So if I kind of select all these things over here, so anything I want to be as part of the selection. Oops. So something like that, okay? What I can do is I can go back to my pen tool, right click it, all right? And then what I can do is I can make new guides from shape, okay? Oh, sorry, no, sorry. Go to your white arrow tool, all right? Right click it. Sorry, you gotta be on your selection tool. So stay on your magic wand, right click your path, and then you can make a work path. All right, and watch this. When I do that, now I have these things as paths. And if I have these things as paths, I can also right click them again, and then I can make them into shapes. And these become icons. Oh, whoops. That's not the right icon. But these are all different icons. But you can make different icons over here. So these are a lot of icons that I use when I do like a painting and stuff. So I'll show you a couple of them that I made. And the one that I just made out of this is on the very bottom. I don't want y'all to make icons right now, but this is why it can be really, really useful. So if I wanted, so I made this all a work path, right? I can make an icon. You see, that's exactly what I selected over here. So you can turn your selections into paths as well. So it's a pretty useful tool. Now, we're not going to do any of that crazy stuff right now because that's a little bit more on the advanced side. We will dabble into it later on, but let's learn how to use the pen tool first, okay? So let's go ahead and close these. And let's open up our very first exercise, which is the pen tool exercise, okay? Here's what you're going to do. So the pen tool, if you want to make cornered edges, it's pretty easy to do. You're just going to click on point A, point B. You can do it on the bottom one too. You can do it on any of them. Now, before we do continue, I do want to go over one last thing. Now, there are two things that we can select here, a shape or a path, okay? The difference between a shape or a path is a path It's just the same thing as a shape, but there's no stroke or fill in there yet. Y'all see that, right? But when we add a stroke or a fill to it, then it becomes like a shape or a path or something like that. Now, it's a little bit funky. So with the path, you can actually right-click it, and you can actually fill your path, or you can stroke the path. All right, so if we decide to fill the path, as we can kind of see, it starts, well, it filled everything else. But if we decide to stroke the path, because it's open, it filled everything else. But if we try to stroke the path, let's change the color. So I have my path over here. Right-click it, stroke path. You see, it'll stroke that path. And we can find our path again right here under paths. And we can edit it by going to our arrow tools and kind of moving it around. So if I wanted to right-click it again, stroke path, okay, it will stroke that path. So that's why it can be really useful as well. A shape, on the other hand, is a path that has fill and stroke already. So what I want y'all to do for the first one is set it on shape, okay? Set it on shape. Make sure your fill is at none. So this means none when it has a cross through it. Stroke is on black or whatever color you want. I don't mind. And then I just want you to just follow that. And then you can adjust the stroke length over here. So if you want to make it a little bit thicker, see that, right? Want to change the color? That's fine with me. Oops. Make a new path. Close it this time. There we go. When a path closes into another path, so when you click on your original starting point, it will close up that shape. So the first part should kind of be done like this. Anybody have any questions? No? And make sure you have your paths over here. I want to see your paths, okay? And I should see layers, shape 3, shape 2, and shape 1. When you have something like this, go ahead and save your work. Just type Jesse in the front, or I mean your name, sorry. So for me, it's Jesse_pack, and then you can save it.
So we have to do patterns for this exercise after this, basically.
Patterns? Like, yeah, you're going to trace in the patterns later.
Oh. Okay.
You're talking about the ones inside of the folder, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I just got a little lost a little bit. I was like, what? Because I'm not really too much familiar with the pencils that much.
Oh, well, that's why we're learning it now, right? Anybody have any questions? Okay, so when you are ready, open up the second one, and then we're going to do curves now. All right? So how do curves work? So I'm going to teach y'all how to use anchor bar, or these handlebars, okay? So the handlebar, what they basically mean is this. So whenever you click and drag, you can create handlebars. The longer the handlebar, the more intense the curve is going to be, okay? And if you have a handlebar on one side, it means that it's going to curve that side. If you have it on the other side, it means it's going to curve on the other side too. So we can see two handlebars, so it's going to curve on both ends. Now what you want to do is you want to click and drag your handlebars up, and you can hold shift to straighten your handlebars too. Sorry, I had to burp. You can hold shift to straighten your handlebars too. So we're gonna click and drag, and it will snap to 45 degrees. So if you hold shift, it'll do that. So you're gonna click and drag, go up first, okay? Whichever direction you go is the direction the curve's gonna end up. You're gonna click the second one, and then you're gonna do the same thing, just like that. And then let's make the stroke a little bit thicker. And you can also change the types of stroke too, as we can kind of see over here. We have dash lines, dots, things like that. So there we go. We got our first one. Oops. Paths. Make a new path. Don't forget to make a new path, y'all. Just like that. It can be a little bit tricky at first, y'all, but you'll get used to it. Now, I will say, when you want to make a smoother curve, the less anchor points there are, the better it'll be. So what is an anchor point? So every line is a path, but every time you put a dot, these little dots are anchor points. All right? Anchor points are pretty handy because what you can do with anchor points is you can move them around. Again, if you go to the black arrow tool, you can move your path around. But if you go to the white arrow tool, you can actually adjust your anchor points. So you can move them around. So let's just say I messed up. So let's just say I did like, oh, you know, I have this, and then over here I messed up. It's a little bit off, kind of like that. And then over here, I definitely like kind of messed up. I can actually go back to my white arrow tool over here, select my anchor points, move it to the right place. I can grab my handlebars, move that to the right place. So you can actually adjust these. So this is a pretty handy tool, especially if you're trying to design layouts and anything like super mechanical. Same with this one. So let's do a 45-degree curve. You can also hold spacebar to move around your anchor points before you commit. So, you know, if I want to like, if I'm like, oh, click and drag. Oh, I did the wrong place. Hold spacebar, move it. There we go. And I'm holding shift because I want to snap it. There we go. Perfect. Anybody have any questions?
Wait, how do you do it? My curve. You hold down shift?
So you wanna which one did you want me to do?
For the first one.
So for this one, you're gonna click. Oh, whoops. Let's make a new layer, new path. Okay. So you're gonna click here first, and then drag, but hold shift to snap. So if you hold shift, it'll just snap and like have it go straight, just like that. You're gonna stop right here. You're gonna click here next, and then you're gonna click and drag downwards. But hold shift so that snaps. And then when you're done with that, that's it. And then you can adjust your stroke width and color by going up here and just kind of like playing around with it. You can even add textures, y'all, if you wanted. Ooh. Gradients, things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Dotted lines.
So instead of layers here, we're working with paths.
Kind of. It's kind of tricky. Like paths, they're here because like, so basically here's how paths work. So paths are separate from layers, but paths are there to help you. You will never lose your path. And you can always come back to your path and reuse it because it won't be lost. But whenever you make a shape, it will make a new layer as the shape. That's based off of the path that you made. So
go ahead, I'm sorry. Pardon.
So these visuals exist on your layers, but your paths exist, but they're invisible on, but they're under the paths window. Does that kind of make sense?
I'm kind of understanding. Also, you'll click to set an anchor point and make your handlebar and then press enter? Space bar, and then to go to your next anchor point and finish it off. And how do you finish the whole thing again? Space bar?
Oh no. All you need to know is whatever you click with your and you make a path, it'll just make a path each time you click. But
well, let's say in this case you don't want to close it off. You want to leave it open. So you just don't close it off, or
yeah. you just leave it like that and just go to like a different tool, and then that way it won't, it'll stop.
Go to a different tool.
So yeah, you can just change to a different tool, and then you can leave it that way.
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh. Any other questions, y'all? No? All right, so how about before we continue, let's take a quick 10-minute break. So why don't we come back at 5:20, and then when we come back, we will continue on with these exercises. I will be right back, y'all.
For these shapes, should we have a path for each shape? Or is it okay if they're all in the same one?
I would say it might be it's okay for some of them to be on the same, but I would separate out the ones that maybe would be grouped into like different elements. For this particular assignment, I would say you could probably just have like you can just have them like on different paths. But if some of them are on the same path, that's fine. But on a usual basis, I would maybe just like group them based off of like what category they'd be in. So like, you know, if I'm working on an eyeball, maybe all the eyeballs are on like, you know, a path. And then, or maybe if I'm doing like, you know, skin, clothes, you know, I'd maybe separate those paths out. But for this assignment, as long as I kind of see a couple paths and I see them all, like all the shapes like divided up, I'll be happy.
Okay.
Adrian, are you there?
Yes, I am here,
Oh,
Professor.
for sure, for sure. After class, let me talk to you really quick. It's just I might want to reschedule the appointment for next week if that's okay. But I just want to ask your availability. But we can talk about that after class. But I just want to let you know. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue.
Professor,
Yo, what's up?
you cut out for about temporary. What were you trying to say?
Oh, I was just saying, after class, I was wondering if I could actually reschedule your appointment next week to a different time. But
Yeah.
okay, cool, perfect. You can talk about it after class, though. I just want to let you know in advance, in case I, like, forget.
Totally. Thanks, because I was like saying, oh no, what happened? What did I do? Did
Oh.
I make a mistake?
Oh, yeah, you're good, man. Nothing's wrong.
Oh my god.
All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and open up this one next. So the upside down water droplet or the balloon, whatever you want to see. So for this one, we're going to learn how to use our anchor points a little more, okay? And I'm going to teach y'all a shortcut, all right? So for this trick, now we can set our curves. Now the thing about curves is this. So we need to set handlebars to create curves, okay? So if I don't set a handlebar, and you can set a handlebar in the beginning by clicking and dragging, but if I don't set a handlebar, it's not going to curve that for me. So I'm just going to make like a really rough circle. But because I did not curve my handlebar in like the beginning, it creates a rougher... It creates kind of like a rougher kind of like... You can kind of see it. It kind of like does this. Like to me, like it kind of goes like this and then it goes like this. Like kind of like that. Right? There's kind of like this like point right here. So you need that curve in order to make really round shapes. So the way we're going to start off with this is we're just going to start by clicking and dragging. You're going to stop over here. Clicking and dragging. You're going to stop right here. Now here's the trick, y'all. Okay? If you hold Alt, you can actually adjust the handlebar that you're holding on right now. So in this case, when I click and drag, one handlebar is going up, one's going down, right? But my mouse is on the bottom one. If I hold Alt, I can actually drag that handlebar in a different direction, or I can make it a little bit, I can make it a little bit longer. Sorry. So kind of like that. It can also create corners. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't expect that. So, for example, if I do this right now, right? And I try to click on the next part, it's going to create kind of like this weird curve. You all see that, right? So what I need to do is I need to bring that handlebar down there. If I want to bring it down, I'm going to hold Alt. Okay, Alt is the key, okay? And all you're going to do is just you're going to click on that, move that over here, and then continue on.
Why'd you pick such a difficult task for our brains?
I promise it'll be a walk in the park out later on.
I feel my brain growing.
That's
feel
the
like a
spirit.
I feel like a droid is like saying like,
So after all, we make that V, or we make that angle with the handlebars. Is there anything else to press after that, or just go straight to the next point?
So pretty much like so when you're doing that V, so you're talking about the bottom part, right?
Correct.
So when you're at this part over here, you hold Alt, you make the V, and yeah, all you got to do is go to the next handlebar and just click and drag. And because those handlebars are in a V shape, it's going to allow us to create corners. The way I kind of think about it is like this. Imagine if a ball was rolling along this wall and it hits the wall. It's going to curve based off of the angle that it's hitting the wall at. So if it comes over here and it hits the center, because this is flat, it's going to create a curve that's similar to the one that it comes at. But over here, it starts to invert. So it starts to follow along the wall and then like curve this way. So it's allowing the ball to kind of bend based off of the curvature of the wall. I know it's kind of like confusing to think about, but does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Perfect. So yeah, playing with the angles helps, and you can always adjust your angles after, y'all. If you go to your pen tool and you hold Alt, you can adjust it after again. Let's go back to pass. If you can't adjust it, go to convert point tool. There we go. You see, you can always adjust them after. So you see, if I want it to be a corner here, then I have to adjust my handlebar so that it allows that curvature to curve and bounce off of that wall into the next curvature.
Before you did that, you marquee selected that particular, or what? How did you just click and drag, selected that anchor point, and made the demonstration, correct?
Yeah, all I did was just click and drag. I didn't use anything but the pen tool.
Okay.
Yeah, I used the pen tool, hold Alt. The only other thing I use is Alt. Alt will let you adjust the handlebar. So you have to make sure the handlebars match the guide.
Okay. Thank you again.
Yeah. So kind of like that. So yeah, I'm just trying to match the guide. Oh,
Jesse, can I ask a question?
sure, what's up?
When you're done making the curve, what do you press to finish it?
What do you,
Makes it disappear.
sorry, what do you mean by finish it?
Like when you complete the curve all the way around and like close the shape. If I complete the shape and hit enter, the whole thing just disappears.
Oh, gotcha. You probably don't have a stroke in right now, I'm guessing. So what you kind of have to do. Oh, sorry, what's up?
You're right, that's what it is.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. So once you fill in the stroke, a stroke should appear. If it doesn't, just let me know, and then I can take a look at your screen.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
Not right now, thank you.
And again, y'all, these are just stroked in right now. If I wanted to add like a fill, I could totally do that too. See? So now it's a red balloon. And then I can make it, can add the string. And then I need to find the clown, right? Oh, whoops. But you see, you can make a lot of cool icons this way. So once you have this, go ahead and save it again. And we're going to move on to the squirrel. Now it's time for some harder stuff. So you're going to click and drag. Click and drag. Hold Alt. Move it. Click and drag. Hold Alt. Move it up here. So just follow the guides. It's the same exact thing that I've been showing y'all this whole time. But follow the guides. They will help y'all out a lot. And don't worry if it's not perfect. You can edit everything later. Like, for example, if I let's just say I messed this up. Okay, I'll just mess it up on purpose. I can go back and edit it with my white arrow tool over here. I can just go here. I can select this. I can move this over here. I can grab the handlebars and move them in place. So you can go back and fix these things up after. That's the nice thing about vector. And it's never ever going to affect the whole, you know, is the scaling and like the pixelation. It won't ever pixelate. Go back and make everything exact. It's also fine if it's not perfect, y'all. As long as it's like pretty close, you know. Now, the nice thing about the pen tool too is you can also add and delete anchor points. So up here on the very top with the pen tool, we have an add and delete anchor points. What that does is if you already have an anchor point on, you can add or delete it. So you all see how like my little pen tool has a minus now? If I take it off, I can make new paths, right? But if I click on this, then it's going to, but if I click on this, it'll delete the anchor point on my current path, making it like this. But I can add another path if I click on a random area on the path, and I can add as many as I want. So you can add and delete anchor points as well to create different kinds of paths. Anybody have any questions?
I'm actually still having the same problem with the finishing the shape thing.
Okay, let me take a look at it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So really quickly before I take a look at it, y'all. So you see I have my vector in. Go back to pen. Let's add a little bit of thickness to it. Oops, that's too much. Or I can just fill in the shape too. Cool. Look at that. I can even turn off the stroke. It looks nice without the stroke. See, now it's just a silhouette. You see, now it's an icon, right? So we can make different icons this way. Make copies. All right, let me give you a screen share. Okay. All right, you should be able to screen share now. Okay.
How does that look?
It looks good.
Okay, cool. So my problem is, when you're finished with the shape, is there a way to finalize it? Because if I hit like enter,
So
go away like that.
So your path actually exists. So it's just invisible, because right now on the top left, you see how there's like a little pen tool next to the house icon, and then next to it says path, right?
Right.
You want it on shape.
Oh.
Yeah, so you might have to remake it again, because right now it's set as a path. But when you're done with it now and you fill in the stroke and everything, it should work properly.
Okay.
Mm.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead and give it a shot, and then if it's not working still, let me know. And then your stroke is also on invisible right now, so just you can like set that on like black or something. Cool.
Okay, cool. I'll give that a shot.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jason.
My pleasure. Okay. Anybody having trouble with the squirrel? Are any questions? This is No, we're good. Last but not least, we're gonna do the letter B.
You're supposed to open up the file and do them during class.
Well, you can watch. I would say watching is definitely pretty important, but some people like to work while they watch, you know, and then just go back and like watch the videos after to like catch what they like maybe missed out on.
Okay, somehow my freaking connection was acting up again. Hold on. Can you repeat that one more time?
Oh yeah, I was just saying, it's up to you. It's up to you, but I would definitely say it's probably a good idea to watch if you're really, really unsure on what to do. But some people like to try out while they watch and then and get like help right there on the spot. So if you feel like you're ready to try some of these out on your own, you can get started on them.
Yeah, I am definitely not ready.
Then yeah, in that case, I would watch. But the nice thing is everything's recorded, so even if you miss something, it'll be set in time. So I got my first one down over here. Let's go ahead and give it a fill. Use blue, and we can lower the opacity. If you want to choose more colors, y'all, if you double click this icon, you can actually choose other colors. There's like a lot. You just gotta double click this. Let's work on the next one.
Hey Jesse, it's me, David.
Yo, what's up?
I've been paying attention, and I was thinking, so this pen tool is probably, like you're saying, best for like graphic design kind of stuff, right?
It's good for other things too, but if you're just, I guess like, if you're purely just trying to make art, it's really good for anything that's graphic. But the uses for it in Photoshop go beyond just making graphics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I can also make selections with this tool. Like if I go back to my path over here, and I just kind of like right click it, I can make a selection from this path. You see, and now I have those marching ants. I can make a new layer, fill it in, and then I can also make a shape that way too. So this is a really good tool if you're trying to like mask something out really detailedly.
Oh, okay.
Could y'all do me a favor? Can we mute whoever is making those sounds? I know some people didn't like the noise on Monday, so if you have other stuff coming through, just mute yourself if you're not talking.
That was me. Super sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries. There we go. Cool. So I got my my 3 shapes here. Anybody have any questions on how to use the pen tool for these exercises so far?
Yeah, I've been watching you, but man, I'm gonna need a lot of practice. I'm like, what am I doing? Some of the like the curves and things I'm kind of having a problem with. So.
No worries. Let's check it out. Yeah. Why don't you share your screen with me? I'll walk it through with you.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna turn on my camera really quick, y'all, because I need to pick my nose.
Well, that's always nice. So yeah, so I was just, I was watching and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. But I'm like, okay, so I click here, and then I hold down Shift, and I go up.
No,
So I don't do that?
No, yeah. So you want to click and hold.
Click?
Yeah, click and hold.
Okay.
Hold your click, and then move your mouse upwards.
Move my mouse upwards. Oh, okay.
Oh, no. You didn't click and hold. You have to, like, hold your click for the first click.
Oh, hold the click. Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
And then stop there.
Got it.
Okay, and then...
Should I let go?
Yeah, let go now.
Okay.
And then click your next point. And
Right
then
here?
hold... Yeah, and then hold again when you click. And then move it the other way this time.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. I was like, I feel like an idiot. But okay.
Oh,
now,
don't be, man. This is... I get this. This is like a really rigid tool. It's like
why did you do that though? Fill out the red thing.
So the reason is because you see on the top where it says fill and stroke?
Yeah.
Your fill is on red, so it's trying to fill in the shape.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that that's on no fill. So that's the white box with the cross through it.
Right here?
Yeah. And then go to your stroke and then put it on a color.
This right here?
Yeah. You can just choose any color.
Right there?
And then next to your stroke, it'll say 0 pixels right now. You want to make the thickness of your stroke a little bigger.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Perfect.
That?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Perfect. So now let's work on the next one. Go to your Paths tab next to your Layers and Channels.
Paths tab next to my layers. Oh, over here?
Yeah. So you see where it says Layers, Channels, Paths? Click on Paths.
Click on paths. Okay.
Okay. Make a new path on the bottom, the box with the plus. Yeah.
Oh, like the layer thing. Okay.
And now you can, and then go back to your pen tool, and then now you can try doing this one.
Oh, so then, and then hold down Shift. I mean, not Shift, but hold it down. Okay.
You can hold, yeah, if you hold Shift, it'll snap it.
Okay, and now let go.
Right.
And then, wait, should I go here?
Yeah.
Right? And then go up.
No, other way. If it doesn't, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay.
Mm.
And then go to this here.
Yep.
Okay.
And then drag it. Yep. There we go.
Oh, perfect. Wait, is it a little crooked? Is it? I don't know.
So you can fix that if you hold Alt and then move your handlebars. Yeah, there we go. And then you can fix that, and you might want to move your other one too on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Oh, well, it's a little. There we go. Perfect.
Yep, and that's it.
And then when I get to this one over here, same thing. Press the plus. And then we would just start So just hold it down. That's the key. Okay.
Yeah, and if you hold Shift, it'll snap at 45 degrees.
Oh, I see.
There we go. And then you can click the second one. And then do the exact same thing.
Why did you do this, though?
It's because you let go of your click. You have to click and drag still.
Click. Oh, and drag. Okay. On 45 degree. Wait, why? No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I gotta get this. Okay. So here we go. Boom. Okay. And then. Oh, wait, it did it again. Why is it making it disappear?
I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's disappearing because it probably it's okay. It's not gonna do anything for now.
So just
leave it.
Okay. Sorry, I was just.
There we go. Nice. There we go. You're good.
That's it? Okay, great. Awesome. I'll stop sharing. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I was like, what is going on with this thing? Okay, so you have to hold it down.
It's a tricky tool, y'all. Anybody else need me to walk them through it, or need me to take a look at, or having trouble before I move on to the next part?
I'll probably ask after class.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, after class, you just remind me. I need to talk to you about your next appointment. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on the more complicated ones now. So part of what's up?
Oh, I said, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, it's the challenging ones now. Okay. So these are art pieces made by one of my friends. Her name is Araceli Munoz. She does a lot of like movie posters and stuff, and she uses the pen tool all the time. So we're gonna
see your screen.
Oh, thanks. So this is like her some of her like artwork. She makes some really cool stuff. She actually has like contracts with Disney too and stuff, so she's allowed to make these. She made this for Raya, like the new like movie that just came out. So we're gonna practice by making our own. We're basically just gonna trace over this, but this time there's not gonna be any anchor points. So how do we do that, right? So we're gonna need to learn how to use the pen tool to start making graphics. So I'm just gonna kind of start off. Let's start off over here. So for this one, it's really going to be a test of, do you understand the pen tool or not? And again, don't worry if if things don't look the way it's supposed to in the beginning, because we can always change it later. So again, if I hold down the Alt key, I can actually go back and adjust some of these over here so that they fit a little bit better. Y'all see that, right? So everything is adjustable. Oh. And if you want to get rid of if you want to get rid of the handlebars, all you got to do is just click while holding Alt. If you click again, you can re-add the handle. If you click and drag again, you can re-add the handlebars. Okay. Okay, for this one, let's go for here.
So she
Alright.
uses the pen tool, your friend, when she's making this kind of stuff, this kind of graphic art.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. Was this done in Photoshop or Illustrator?
She did this in Illustrator. Usually in Photoshop, I'll be honest, usually in Photoshop we don't do this kind of stuff. But you'll see it from time to time.
Oh, okay.
But it is important to know how to use the pen tool in Photoshop. Even if you're a graphic designer, you are going to get some things that you're going to have to do in Photoshop. And when you do those things in Photoshop, the pen tool, again, like it can make selections. So that's what I use it a lot for. But it's really, really useful because of that.
Like what you're doing right now.
Well, I'm just making an icon. It is useful for this too.
Oh, okay.
But it's even more useful as a kind of like selection tool. And then something that I can do, y'all, is I can actually, you know what? I messed up. So I actually only want to block off this shadow here first.
Are you using a mouse or your stylus?
I'm using my mouse. This tool is easier to use with your mouse.
Okay.
Add another anchor point. You can move it. Cool. And then we got kind of the shadow shape in, as we all can kind of see. So let's double click this. Let's just grab this color. Okay. Wait, let's fill it up first. There we go. Grab the color again. Okay. Nice. No stroke this time. So you see, we can start making these shapes. And then what I can do, so maybe like face shadow. I can turn this off and I can start working some other areas too. Let's see. So let's get the earring in. Now the reason why I'm having you all do this is because when we make our poker cards, you're going to have to know how to do this. You need to know how to use the pen tool quite well. And it will help out a lot too. They're going to be very, very graphic, but they're going to look really nice. Okay, let's turn off the fill for now. Move this here. Let's move this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that part. It looks really wonky. Okay, and then let's get rid of that. Let's add it back in. Let's move that. There we go. That's a lot better. A lot better. If I want to add back anchor points, handlebars, I can do that too, just by holding Alt. Alt is the only key button that you need to know how to you need to know what to press when you're doing the pen tool.
So for the pen tool, it's mostly just pressing, clicking, holding it down, and then when you need to go back to adjust, pressing Alt.
Yeah, you hold Alt. If you want to snap, you hold Shift. I guess that would be like the only other thing too. So kind of like that. Let's give it a fill. Go back to your pen tool. Always go back to your pen tool if you're planning to fill. I can double click this and I can just kind of borrow the colors. There we go. Okay. Nice. So we got two shapes now over here, as y'all can kind of see. So from here, it's just pretty much just building up those things. Now, I need to show y'all another trick though. And that trick is, how do I do kind of these in-between spots over here? So what I'm going to start off by doing first is I'm going to start off by just kind of making the whole hair. At least this like spiky part right here.
Like the outside contour.
Yeah, like this contour shape right here.
Right.
Now again, a lot of some people always wonder how come if this is vector, why it's still pixelating. It's because this is Photoshop and the file size is not very big. So, but if I make the file size bigger, the vector will also get bigger and not pixelate. So I can resize this to anything I want after I'm done and still use the artwork. but the print size that I set it on, that will determine how it looks with the, you know. So if I set it at like a low resolution, then yeah, it's definitely gonna print like, you know, in low resolution. Dang, there's a lot of stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna do part of this. There's a lot. I'll come back to it later. There's a way you can add shapes. I'll show you how to add shapes. It's the same tool that I'm about to use to show you how to cut shapes. And if I do my layering right, actually, I can actually just kind of do whatever for this part. Just put this on the bottom. My fill. There we go, as y'all can kind of see. So let's just say I need to add these holes though, okay? So let me go back really quickly over here. So we have this over here, right? Now, if I click this up here, we have a couple of options that we can do. Subtract front shape, intersect shape areas, exclude overlapping shapes. Those are all things that I can use, right? So we're gonna try out subtract front shape first. All right, so I have this shape over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna make this. Just like that, okay? And I have this, this first shape, the second shape, right? So kind of like this, right? Now, I want to make sure that this shape is on top of the other one, okay? And then what I can do is then I can go here now, select them, and then I can go subtract front shape. All right? And what it should do... Actually, let's combine these together. Oh, nice. Okay, I guess that worked. So, yeah. So pretty much what I want to do is I want to select them both, kind of like this, okay? So you can use your path selection tools to kind of select your paths. Make sure your layers are also selected. That's important. So you need to select shape 3 and shape 2. So that way it kind of shows up, okay? What you can do afterwards, go to paths, merge them together, kind of like this. And I think now they're one path. So there's actually another way to do it. Right here.
Jesse?
Yo, what's up?
A newbie question?
Sure.
How do you select both layers again?
Hold. You can hold shift.
Shift. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, actually, I messed up, y'all. So, what I actually did was I merged. What is it? I did this, but then it made the other side the fill. So I need to invert this. So let's do this again. Okay. But instead of doing subtract top this time, let's go to exclude overlapping shapes. So now let's try that. Nice. You see, it works now. Sometimes you got to try out different options, y'all. For this one, it was exclude overlapping shapes. So you see, now I can make that incision in between. So again, let's try that one more time so I can show y'all. So we got to make this shape. And then y'all don't have to do the background for this one, okay? Don't do the background for this one. Just do the girl, yeah.
Sounds good.
The rest of these, you got to do them, though. I mean, they're not hard. I mean, this is just black. This is just a background in general, so you just gotta do that. This one's just yellow. So yeah, you don't have to do the background for this one, but it would be nice just to get like a little bit of like the color, I guess. So if you want to just use your marquee tool, there we go. But then I would definitely add it, you know, put it back after you're done with everything. So back to this. So we got our shape over here, right? And then we got our original shape over here. We want to make sure that this shape over here that I'll make red is on top of my other shape, okay? What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to my arrow tool over here again, all right? Kind of like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select both of these. Oh, and then don't forget to have both of these selected too. You have to select both layers, both shape layers. All right, kind of like that. Go up here. Okay, go to your arrow tool again. Let's select them. Go up here now, and then exclude overlapping shapes. Wait, let's merge these together. There we go. Oh, there we go. Nice. And then we just rinse and repeat. It did change the color though, so that's kind of... Turn it off. And let's try adding shapes, yeah? So let's just say I want to add kind of like this chunk into it right here. I want it to blend into here pretty well. So let's just say I want to add this chunk, right? We can select both of these over here. All right, go to our paths and merge them together, just like that. And then because they're both still selected, so let's select them again. We want to merge the paths, okay? It'll also merge the shape together. But now what we can do is we can go up here and then we can press combine shapes. And, oh, whoops, was combining those two, so we got to be careful. Okay, so let's select these two again. Black arrow, there we go. Oh, there we go. Merge shape components. So I can go like this. Because they're still... And then let's select them both again. Let's merge the path. Select them. Merge shape components. There we go. And you see it fills up that block. Anybody have any questions?
Is this part of the exercise that we have to do, or is this just you showing us an example?
Oh, you have to do it. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. This is practice, so y'all can do your project 3. Like, this is the skill set I want y'all to get out of this part of the class. And as I mentioned, y'all, in the beginning of the semester, I give a lot of homework. But if you want to learn art and you want to learn how to make stuff, I would hope that you appreciate all the stuff. Let's go back to pen tool. Let's adjust. Let's select this. Messed up.
Hey Jesse, I have a question about the project.
Sure, what's up?
When we're doing our final version, do you want us to be doing curves over something that we've drawn, or can we use like photo references and do vector art over that?
You can use both as long as it's like a vector art in the end.
Okay, so I was thinking of doing something like a deer skull that like do vector art over the top for like all the shadows and curvatures and whatnot.
Oh yeah, you could totally do that. Yeah, if you wanted to, you can't use the photos in the end of the reference, in the end of the project, but you can use it as part of the process. You know, so if you want to like, yeah, so vectoring over it is totally fine.
All right, I'll do that.
Perfect. Now, we can also use shapes here. So we have other, like, so they have like preset shapes, y'all. So we have the line tool, which you can make lines with. You need to use lines. We have rounded rectangle, ellipsis, polygon, which is, you know, you can create different polygons. The trick with the polygon tool, y'all, is you can click and drag to make your polygon. But if you just click once, you can actually set the number of sides. So if I want 3 sides, it'll make a triangle. So these are some preset things. So I'm probably going to use ellipse tool and just kind of get the highlight of the eye. Just kind of match it. There we go. Let's bring this over here. Double click on this. Let's turn this back on. I think I deleted one of my things. Interesting. Darn it. I think I did. Okay, that's okay.
I was gonna say maybe try putting one under the other so that way it'd be easier because I had that same problem too.
One under the other? What do you mean?
Like, you know how you were just looking for the main shape and everything that you just did, right?
Uh-huh.
Like the yellow part. Well, for me, like whenever I try to figure out, like, okay, like if I'm gonna do like the half like you're doing right now, I putting one layer under the other layer. But the problem was though is that sometimes like my stuff would glitch out. But I'm just saying, like, if you maybe did not delete it, I would have just maybe turned off everything to see what it was, and then after that, like, see if I did or did not.
Oh, for sure. Okay, double click. Let's grab this color. Nice. All right, let's make another layer. There we go. Nice. Let's get rid of the stroke. Y'all see that, right? It's starting to look like what we're trying to make. All I want y'all to do is just to trace over these shapes.
With
with
the pen tool, basically.
With the pen tool.
Oh boy.
So these demos will probably carry on to next week a little bit. And then I will also show y'all how to come up with a couple thumbnails for like your project as well. But I do want y'all to master this this tool really, really well for this project. Slowly but surely, starting to get there. Start getting this part. Turn off this. I'm going to add on that little bit later. There we go. Let's give it a fill. Let's turn everything back on. See, now we're getting our light. So y'all see that, right? It's slowly but surely getting there. And again, this is a vector, so look what happens. Okay, so I'm just gonna save this really, really quick. Now watch this. Now if I zoom up closer to this, you'll start to see pixelation and quality lowering. You won't, I mean, you'll see pixelation here, but that's because this is the maximum file size. But watch what happens if I increase the whole image size in general. let's make this 300. So more than 3 times the resolution. Let's make this 20 by 12. Let's press OK. Look how much pixelation occurs. Look at this. Oops. Look at the quality. It retains that information. So it's a very useful tool because we can actually like create so many things with it, do so many things with it, and at the same time it'll retain that printing quality. Let's make this a small size again. Actually, you know what? Let's make it big, but not that big. Like 150. So we're coming close to where I usually like to stop class, y'all. Anybody have any questions today or anything? Before we, what is it? You know, before class ends, I guess.
Yeah, I got a quick question.
Sure, what's up?
This might sound like a silly question, but I'm looking at how you're doing it, and I opened up the file, like I put in Photoshop exactly what you're working on. And I was like thinking, like, because earlier you were showing me, okay, when you're using this pen tool to get on the path, but I have yours under like the layers, you know?
Well, every time you make a shape, it'll make a shape in the layers panel because that is the pixels that are appearing.
Okay.
But then the paths, these are paths, not pixels.
Right.
But you can fill in a path and make it a shape, and that will appear on the layers panel. So you will never lose your path, even if you delete your shape.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
you can just, on this one, you can just leave it on the layers, and then just start using the pen tool. Like, I'm just saying it doesn't really matter, I guess.
Well, having it on different windows will not affect the way the tool works. But you need to understand that paths are separate from shapes because shapes are, these are pixel based right now, but they're also vectorized because they're using the path as a mathematical formula to remember the pixels.
Okay.
So it's basically like the path is the memory, and then this is basically where they're explaining what they remember. And as long as we have the memory here, it'll always be able to explain things clearly.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think so. It's making, I mean, it's making slowly but surely, I think I'm getting it.
It's a little tricky. Yeah, it's basically like, I can fill the, I'm on the layers tab because the layers affect the way it visually looks. It doesn't like affect any like mathematical formula. The paths are basically like the lines here. It's just remembering my paths, and I can always go back to my paths over here. I merged them all together though, so they're all like 15 paths on one thing. But your paths will never disappear. Your shapes though, and we can go back to any of these even after I delete, like, even if I make them like, what is it? Invisible or whatever, they won't ever disappear. But you need to play around with the layering of your paths here, whereas over here is the actual production of the path.
Right. Well, I was also noticing watching you that it seemed like sometimes you would get to a spot where you'd be like, okay, I'm going to make a new layer. Because, you know, you'd get stuck, you get, not stuck, but you get at a point where it's like, okay, it makes more sense to like, you know what I mean? I was following along, I was like, I wonder why he's doing that, making like the new layers and starting a new thing with the pen tool. rather than just keep going.
Oh, these over here?
Yeah.
You make a new shape every time you make a new shape.
Right.
Yeah. It just automatically does that.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? No? Alright, y'all. So here's what we're going to do. Is I'm going to go ahead and finish this up on Monday. Okay? And then I'm probably going to do the poker card one after. I'm not going to do these three. Okay? I'm pretty sure. Actually, these are actually easier than these. So this one. So I would probably do these ones. Like, I'm sure if you can use the pen tool, this is going to be a piece of cake and a walk in the park. So is this one.
Okay.
This one's not going to be too bad either. If you can do this, you can do the other ones. I'm going to do the poker card one, though. And then after the poker card one, what I'll do is I'll kind of show you how I kind of thumbnail for ideas for this project. Yeah, so how to come up with them, things like that. I should have mood boards up on the blog by next Monday from y'all, too. So I'll probably grab someone's mood boards, and I'll probably work off of those and try to create a design based off of like the references that I get. So y'all will kind of see an example of how I do that, how to come up with the project, and also I'll finish up more pen tool stuff so that we can really, really nail this down. Anybody have any questions on today before I let y'all go?
I have a question about the mood boards. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So the video recording of today's class will be up tomorrow.
It'll be up tomorrow. Yeah.
Awesome. Very good.